I want to give you an update on my opinion about sample and hold displays, because on this channel I said many times, oh, sample and hold was just a bad idea, it needs to die. Give me back a plasma technology like CRT like. This is just horrible. The motion blur is terrible. Luckily we have this black frame insertion on these LG OLEDs. So I was wrong, okay? And I know now much better, especially after reading that blur busters law and understanding that motion clarity is equal to pixel visibility time, and understanding why using black frame insertion causes that huge brightness loss and exactly how much brightness loss. And yeah, so after understanding that, I know now much better what I am looking for. And basically, in the near future, in this near future, without getting futuristic here, what you want, the best display that we are going to get very soon is 240 Hz OLED displays. Period. Because these OLED displays are the best sample and hold displays because of their gray to gray, the responsiveness of the pixels. So it is the best sample and hold displays, and it is the best HDR display because it has perfect blacks and perfect contrast, infinite contrast. So getting one of these new panels that are coming, they are 240 Hz, and I don't want ultra wide. So most of the gaming monitors coming are going to be ultra wide. I'm not a big fan, but if you like it, but in my opinion, it's a downgrade coming from 4K down to 1440p ultra wide. If I want ultra wide, I can get it here. So I'm not interested in that. But if they make if they make it 48, 42, 48, 55 inches, 240 Hz, I'm not sure if they're going to do that, because these screen sizes are more TV-like, and TVs don't need 240 Hz at all. So I don't know what to expect in terms of 4K, 16:9. For sure, we are getting ultra wides. We have this Corsair monitor coming. So, but I hope at least we get one 4K monitor soon. That is big. I don't like it small. Downgrading the screen size is a huge downgrade in my opinion. So if I'm getting another display, it has to be at least as big as this one, which is 48, and I would like it even bigger. So yeah, in the near future, 240 Hz OLED display is the best screen we're going to get. Why? Let me explain you why. So this is just Horizon Zero Dawn. I am running the game at 100 Hertz. 100 black frame insertion. So I'm doing 100 black frame insertion. So that is giving me 5 milliseconds of pixel visibility time, which is equals to 5 pixels of motion blur. Okay. So basically, why? Let me explain you why this is what we are looking for in the near future, and it is not sample and hold, that's garbage, emotion. No. So it doesn't matter. So after reading this blur busters law, it doesn't matter how you achieve the pixel visibility time. Of course, the different technologies, plasma, CRTs, they have different kind of artifacts, like trailing artifacts and all of that. But this OLED technology is just perfect. There's no ghosting, there's nothing, because the pixels are so fast. So a 240 Hz OLED display is going to give you 4 milliseconds of persistence, and that's a very easy calculation. You just divide. You're getting 240 Hz, so the pixel visibility time is equal to the refresh rate. That's it. So you just have to divide, 1 divided by 240, you multiply that for 1000, and you get 4 milliseconds approximately. So that is absolutely perfect, because we have now this, of course, we're talking about PC gaming. Of course, the consoles are not going to push 240 hertz, never. It doesn't make any sense. But for the PC, we have now NVIDIA DLSS 3.0 frame creation. And of course, we have that 4090. I hope that technology is going to come to the 30 series. But of course, after I get an upgraded display, I want to push those frames. So I'm gonna have to get that 4090 anyway, or whichever is the best in that moment, because we don't have that display yet. So now with that DLSS 3.0 motion interpolation or frame generation, like they call that technology, it is going to be very realistic to get over 200 frames. Very realistic. So right now on my 3080 12 gigabytes with my 5800X3D, I am getting in most AAA games, to not say all of them, rock solid 100 frames. And if I unlocked the frame rate, I am getting up to 100. So from 120 from 100 to 120. So now with DLSS 3.0, we are doubling, almost doubling that frame rate. In some cases, doubling just straight up. So that's it. So a 4K with DLSS 3 plus that frame generation, you can get 200 frames plus on every single game with G-Sync. Of course, they need to improve and fix that problem with the V-Sync and latency. When you use frame generation, when you hit the maximum refresh rate of your display, the latency is affected. But at 240 hertz, there's no latency that this gonna bother you, even if it has a problem. Is very unlikely. But based on the Digital Foundry review of DLSS 3, the latency at 120 was like over 100 milliseconds. So that's a huge problem. But I'm sure they're gonna fix that. So with this new displays, OLED 240 HDR, a very powerful 4090 with very powerful CPU and system, of course, you're going to get basically a perfect experience, almost perfect, because I know how 4 milliseconds of persistence looks like on this LG OLED, because that's what you get when you use 120 black film insertion. So you might think, if you can get that already, why would you get another screen? Why is that worth it? So if I have already an LG C1 and I can use black film insertion at 120, why do I need a 240 hertz display? Because of HDR. So I'm going to call that the cost of HDR. For HDR, sample and hold is the way to go, because you don't want any flickering and you don't want any brightness loss. So black frame insertion is reducing the pixel visibility time. So for example, on this LG C1 Motion Pro High, it's reducing the size you can see on the screen, so the window size, in 50%. So what's happening is this is what you see, and the rest is black, and it's scrolling up and down. So that causes exactly a 50% brightness loss. So hopefully these new 240 hertz OLED screens are 1000 nits. That's what I'm looking for. If they are more, better. If they can give you 1200, it is possible to get 1200 with this OLED technologies. Maybe QD, it cannot be QD OLED. I'm going to do a separate video about QD OLED, and especially the chief of Blur Buster talking about QD OLED and why it is challenging to get the strobing on that technology, and how they can maybe figure that out. Of course, there's a way, but it's going to have to be either WRGB or a different OLED technology. But The best would be if they give me options for the black frame insertion. But unfortunately, I was seeing this Corsair monitor, 240 hertz OLED monitor that is coming, and somebody asked a question, hey, is that monitor going to come with black frame insertion at 240? And they said, oh, we don't know yet. Like, they're not even thinking about it. But the perfect thing would be 240 hertz OLED HDR 1000 nits, and we can get that. I'm talking about something we can get. But the perfect thing would be having a lot of options for the black frame insertion, because I know now how to get the best results. Of course, I understand most people don't have a clue. Most people are going to be confused, and maybe it's gonna be difficult for them to get a good result if the monitors include too many options. But make it clear. Make the options clear. Like, it's easy to say 50%. So this is black frame insertion. It is doing 50% window size, and explain 50% window size doubles the motion clarity. As simple as that. Give me the option of 75% window size and 25% window size. Why not? If it's technically possible, and I think it is, give me that option. Because 240 hertz with 50% window size is going to give you 2 milliseconds of persistence. Okay? So that's almost perfect. Almost perfect. So, but imagine 25% window size. So 240 hertz with 25% window size is 1 millisecond of persistence. That's perfect already. That's perfection. So that means you get 1 pixel of motion blur. So what that means is that if you have a vertical line that is 1 pixel wide, so just 1 pixel, a vertical line, you move that left to right and you see 1 pixel. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Of course, there's still going to be a small blur. I would talk about that on a separate video about perfection and some artifacts that are still going to be present. But that would be insane. A 240 hertz OLED display with black frame insertion options on top of that. So you can get 4 milliseconds of persistence at native 240 with HDR. That's going to be the best option, to be honest. I would not try to go beyond 4 milliseconds and lose HDR. Not every day. Not every day. But for sure, I want to have the options just to see how good it looks. Maybe after I see how good it looks, I would change my mind. But I think 4 milliseconds is already spectacular. But 240 hertz with black frame insertion. Now you give me 50% window size, and we go down to 2 milliseconds. And you give me 25% window size, we go down to 1 millisecond. But they have to give you the options. They have to have, Motion Pro, high, very high, medium, low. And I specify what is that, so people know. People understand what they're doing and the results that they are achieving by making those changes. Tell people, this is the motion clarity, this is the brightness loss. Specify all of that so people know. So yeah, the brightness loss is gonna be massive. You lose 4 times the brightness with 25% pixel visibility time. But that's still okay. If the monitor can push, for example, 400 nits full screen, which they don't allow by default on this LG C1, you can get it with accessing the service menu, but they don't allow that. So basically, if you lose 4 times brightness, you get 100 nits full screen. So that's like SDR. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I know now better, so I understand sample and hold is necessary for HDR, and it was not a bad idea after all. It was not a bad idea. It is The problem is that we are playing if you're playing a 60 frames per second game at 60 hertz sample and hold, that looks terrible. So a plasma TV in that case, or an OLED with black film insertion. The problem is at 60 hertz, a black film insertion, 50% window size, it flickers and is visible. So some people are gonna be bothered by that. So that's the problem. So I still have the same opinion. For 60 frames, give me a plasma TV. Give me a CRT, it looks a lot better. But with a high-end gaming PC, if you can push 100, 120 and beyond, then HDR sample and hold is the way to go, for sure. And the OLED technology is the best sample and hold technology, as far as I know. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing videos like this because I now know better about this. And I want to talk about VR, the VR headsets. I want to talk about the best LCD displays we have for strobing, and actually they are better than the OLEDs. Actually, the best LCD displays we have, they are even better in terms of motion clarity. You see here 1.4, 1.7, they are a lot better. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions.